welcome to NinCast Episode 2, brought to you by Ninpocho Chronicles and Shinobi's viewers everywhere. Ninpocho Chronicles is a role-playing forum site based on the Naruto universe. Come and create your own story at www.ninpocho.com. My name is Nana, and my character name is Hayata Shin, the current 8th Hokage. With me today is three guys. The second guy actually came in last time, but he didn't. He's pretty late. So, to bring out introductions, here's CJ. He plays Yuri, Sanchunin, and he's also a member of Sandcastle and admin.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
And here's Jake. His name is Hoshikata. His character name is Hoshikata, and he's also a member of Missing Council and admin.
Hey people, what's up?
And a new member, Joe. He plays Hilt in the other website, but it was hacked. But he came, besides back, so there's now his new name is Hyojin, and he is currently the Chief Menden.
Hello.
Okay. Well, last 2 weeks, we talked about basically why we created the podcast, and also ways in which about this site and how we can improve it, and also the plot lines. And today we're going to talk a little about the missing nin. And basically, for new people out there who don't really know about missing nin is basically a ninja who defects or goes rogue from their current village. And we're going to talk about exactly the difference between the missing nin on NC and versus missing nin on Naruto. So I think the better person to answer the question would be Hoshikata in regards to NC. Like, Jake, can you tell us what it really means to be a missing nin on NC?
Really, like I said earlier in a private chat, all a missing nin on this game is right now is someone who either their character does not have a backstory that belongs in a village, or they don't want to be in a village themselves, and so they just avoid villages. They'll go and run away from one, or if they have been one before, now they can actually rebirth straight into one. But it's just pretty much a sword without a hand to wield it, as I used to say. It's a weapon that has left its owner.
That's a good answer. What's kind of funny is because it's a good point. If you think about it, missing nins are pretty much shunned. They're like, a weapon without like a holder. So every time you see a missing nin on NC, everybody hates them. And Naruto is the same way. In Naruto, I guess, well, in the show, I guess Naruto, the missing nin were mostly villains. You have Madara, you have Sasuke, you have all these other characters who are considered villains, and they're also missing nin. So sometimes that kind of reflects itself on NC a little bit. CJ, what do you think about that? Do you think that the stigma of missing nin is because of the series, or is it something else entirely?
Well, I think it ultimately comes down to the fact that people don't like it when other people leave their village. You join the village, because ninja are supposed to be this sworn protector. They do or die for the village kind of thing. So people will typically always jump on the guy that's trying to leave. And it's unfortunate that there have been instances where people don't have good reasons for this to happen. Like, they've just decided, oh, I don't like this village, or oh, nothing's going on, so I'm going to leave. Unfortunately, while the Naruto universe itself may have kind of added some theme to this, it may have helped impact it, I think NC itself has developed its own stigma of missing ninja, aside from what we've actually taken from the canon universe.
Yeah. Joe, what do you think? Same. You have anything to add to that?
I don't really have anything to add to it. I'd pretty much agree with everyone on it, that we kind of treat them like the black sheep of the people on NC, and that whenever you see someone from missing, you're kind of like wary to join a topic with them because you don't really know what they're like, or if they have like a past experience of being missing and being, I guess, like the villain, kind of like Anishi, people would be more wary to join his topic. Or maybe like I can't think of this person's name. Yang, I think, right? He's also missing. Some people might be afraid to join them, and maybe like people who aren't well known, people will also be wary of because you don't really know what to expect from them. And I'd say that as far as 1 second. Sorry about that. As far as how did CJ put it? Like affecting them, like missing leaving a village because, oh, we're bored or things aren't really just going on. It also affects other people as well when they go missing. Say they had like an RP going on with someone that was cut abruptly because they wanted to go missing, or they're a part of someone else's storyline. Now they're pretty much gone because, OOCly, they just didn't want to do anything. And so maybe that person doesn't like them for that reason. And so they kind of think all missing nin are like that, cutting into other people's story or taking parts out of it that, they had going on that aren't going to happen anymore.
Good response. If people who don't know, Osili means out of character, which leads into my next questions. If you think about it, like people go missing for out of character purposes, which kind of destroys the story and the old like immersement of the actual role play. And do you feel like people are mostly going going missing because of out of character reasons, or is it in character? What do you guys think? Let's go with Jake.
I think a lot of people do, in fact, actually go missing just for OOC reasons. There are plenty who do it for entirely IC reasons, but a lot of our players are actually pretty good at fabricating those when they need to, just because they want to be a missing ninja. I can name I'm not trying to badmouth anyone here, but Yong is what I would call a career missing. Every time he rebirths a new character, you can pretty much expect him at some point to nuke. So there are a lot of OOC factors involved in that, and the big thing is, as long as they come up with a good in-character reason for it, then they're doing a good job in my mind.
Any remarks? Add to anything?
Nothing really. I'd pretty much agree with Jake on it. Like, I'd say the majority of people nuke for OOC reasons. I haven't really seen too many for in character. I can probably think of maybe one or two, and that's about it. Other than that, I'd say it's all OOC.
Well, I mean, and that's pointing fingers and all that, just to say that people usually make up an excuse. It's that it's also really easy to find an excuse where if it actually fits conveniently enough in a plot situation, that people will usually take it out. Especially for people that are considered the career missing nins, as Jake said. Yang was infamous for that. Magoya was also one of those. Shin, Kechi Shin, he's also really well known for being a career missing nin. He rebirthed in the stand several months ago and had an interesting character, but it was inevitable that, he was like, well, I'm going to go missing, guys. And so he was just gone. I'm like, yeah, you know what, to be honest, I was hoping he'd stick around, but I kind of saw that coming. And there are just people who are naturally aligned to being missing. They don't like the stricture that certain villages put on people, the restrictions that villages put on people. And they like kind of being able to run their own rules, go wherever they please at any given time. And, it's kind of what missings, have the ability to do. But, yeah, I mean, sometimes you'll find that really one good in-character reason that people have. And usually when you see that, it's actually more or not the most interesting thing you can see.
Is that really the case, though? I mean, I know Jake is a member of Missing Council. Do you feel like Missing Council is not less restrictive compared to like village councils?
It's not really that much of a difference. Every council usually is going to have the same rule set to follow. They're all going to be full of people with different opinions of what's too strict, what's not. I wouldn't say we're any more or less restrictive than a regular village council would be.
Interesting. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But I don't know. Like, I always feel like when a missing always comes to the village, there's always some sense of like fear that they'll do something. And do you feel like in character, villages are more trusting than missing in, or is it just some type of like? Does it depend on each village, I guess?
It does depend on each village. I mean, I'm surrounded by two Cloudies here, so I hate to put it like this. When I went to Cloud a few months ago, I came with a couple of friends. Y'all met me at the gates with 12 people.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So Cloud, obviously, when I rolled up, was not the most accepting of groups, but y'all didn't outright threaten me. You just made sure there was enough people there that in case I did something stupid, y'all might survive it. On the flip side, though, when I went to Sand, one person showed up and said, hey. And from what I can tell about Stone, Umashi is straight up just letting missing into stone, going on missions with them. So they're pretty accepting of missing. I'd say right now, all the villages are mostly accepting of us.
Well, at least at that point, it's a good point. But at least my second statement or comment, I guess, is that do you think missing is not a really bad thing to be? I mean, is it okay to be missing, or should we really be forcing people to not be missing? Like, because nowadays, like when people go missing, there's no one actually going chasing after them or doing any bounties or anything like that. So it seems like if you go missing, it's not a big deal. In character, is it really a big deal?
It is a big deal. It should be a big deal. Your character at some point did make an oath to do what this village said, and breaking an oath is always a big deal, especially when you consider that for that shinobi going missing, most villages that is considered signing your own death warrant. They will try to hunt you down. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing right now, but mostly because about half of the missing end user group, a little bit over, is what we call mercenaries, which are mostly people who they were in Leaf, they were in Cloud, or not Cloud, but Mist, and those two villages are no longer around. They decided instead of going to Sandstone or Cloud, they'd rather keep that character and not join another village. So, yeah.
Which is very important, interesting point because I think last episode we talked about how Leaf and Mist were destroyed by acts of God, destruction. I think Leaf was in a civil war and Mist is frozen over. So basically, they're shooting over no village. So they pretty much do contract work, whatever they feel fit. But at least like I guess if they come to Cloud or Lightning Country, they're doing contract work. It feels like they're infringing against our clients. If you're, let's say you're a soldier, not a soldier, I guess. If you're a company and you have a bunch of clients, you have another company coming in, your client. It's kind of like infringing on your practice. So I guess it's in the same way, it's the same sense. Do you feel like mercenaries are a threat to the actual village and economy? Let's go with Joe. He hasn't really spoke that much.
I'd say they're pretty helpful. I mean, you could probably get mercenaries to do things that maybe normal villages wouldn't want to be seen doing. I know Jake has some good info on this, so I won't say too much, but if sorry Jake, I was just reading that. Say you wanted them to, like, maybe kill this village that's out in Lightning Country. You don't really want Cloud to be a part of it, and you don't want them to be seen. Maybe hire a few people that are mercenaries to go do it for you that aren't affiliated with anyone, so it doesn't really look bad for Cloud or any other village inside of Lightning that may or may not be there, or to their neighboring countries. But I'll go ahead and let Jake take over, because I know he has a lot to say about mercenaries more than I do. So go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, back when Missing Council first got started, before we even had the mercenary banners, Missing Council came up with an idea with the help of one of the head admin for the Mercenary Guild, which is essentially just going to be an in-character group based out of Moon Country that is going to ICly be the basis for hiring mercenaries for jobs. We're going to have a thread on each village gates just letting you know which account to PM for that. You can tell them you want them to do this job. It'll be treated as a properly ranked mission. It can be modded by a missing or village council, or it could be a solo mission. Yeah, so we're setting that up as a way for, let's say, someone in Sand wants to assassinate a person from Stone who, when they went to Stone, this person insulted them. Instead of having Sand get involved in all that, you can go to the Mercenary Guild, say, I want this person killed. One of the mercenaries who are missing will take the job up, do it, and get paid.
Okay, I'm back. You guys there?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, there we go.
Yes. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So I think it's very interesting. It's an interesting system to create because people nowadays, missing in particular, don't have the ability to set up missions for themselves, and they complain about like not having enough money to buy techniques and things like that. So having an administration team actually proposing this idea is a good idea. Just I'm not sure how well received it will be for the entire site, but we'll see. Um, I like to talk about I guess in the past we had IC ranks. Before the hack, we had abilities where when someone went missing, they had a rank attached to them. So depending on how strong you were, I guess it's kind of really bad example, but depending on how strong you were, you get a rank like a C rank up to an S rank, and based on your strength, you get that rank. But sometimes it will be tied to the village. So my question is, how come we don't have that type of system in the current site? I mean, would it be really nice to see like if you're a C rank, then this character is this level dangerous, and then that versus an S rank?
Um, I'm talking a lot tonight, it seems, but I guess that's fitting since I'm the missing of this group. Uh, Pretty much the best answer I can give for that. Admin actually did submit an idea to Missing Council at one point for bringing those ranks back. And the problem we had with it was those ranks almost just about required you to be a villain or bad guy. And some people who go missing, they're not actually trying to do that. For some, it is going on with your story. For others, they just want to travel between villages without having to go through all the rules. But at no point did we want to force them to do bad deeds or something to get a higher IC rank. As for why we don't want to let the villages determine those ranks, obviously, for a lot of people, the village would be the enemy, and the villages would look at it the same. So, in essence, if they're being fair about it, it would be fine. But we can't expect you to be fair about saying, oh, yeah, that guy is an S rank, so he should get the best missions because he is an S rank, and so he should get stronger.
Well, I always think that the IC rank shouldn't really depend on your strength. I mean, the rank shouldn't really depend on the strength level. I mean, you mentioned that too, but also if you say you're a C rank, doesn't really mean you can't participate in an S rank mission. It just says C rank. That's how dangerous you are. So I'm not sure why that can't be proposed. I mean, you can always create a system like that. Was that not feasible?
Not really feasible. I mean, let's say I go missing at 2000 PL from Stone. And Stone at that point is going to say, okay, he's not that dangerous, but with the way you can actually gain power on MC right now, within a few months I may be capped and complete powerhouse at it. So there's no real way in character to rank how dangerous someone is unless they're actually committing deeds to get ranked. And so if they're just wandering the villages, not getting in fights and RPing, their IC rank would be pretty low for the fact that they're not doing any deeds to get infamous with.
Hmm. Any comments on that, Joe or CJ?
I mean, I'd pretty much have to side with Jake on this one. Like, I understand what you're trying to station, where just because like someone's maybe a C rank or lower, they should not or they shouldn't be held back to participate in something higher. But at the same time, you don't want to force people to be the bad guy if they really don't want to. Uh, so like as you were saying, or Jake was saying, sorry, that if they wanted to go missing to maybe travel without being restricted by villages at the same time, it's like, well, in characterly, that person still has a certain amount of threat they pose to people or the village, and they should still get some type of rank for it to let others know, maybe in character, watch out for this person. They could have been a B rank or C rank in character, out of character, but in character they might have been like maybe a Senin or someone higher ranking who may have been thought to be really powerful in character, not in the battle terms. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So they should, get something to let people know to beware of them. But we don't really have anything like that set up. And as Jake said, we don't want to force people into being the villain if they don't want to. But at the same time, like if you're going to go missing and, not be a mercenary, then, you abandoned your village. And as he said, you signed your own death warrant by doing that. So I mean, there should be some type of consequence for it. I think for being a missing nin, not a mercenary.
Well, let me add to this. So I understand people don't want to be classified as a villain, but if you go missing, I mean, it's not necessarily saying that missing are like bad guys or evil. It's just that you had all this power and you're rejecting your village to do your own thing. I mean, it's very. I guess in my opinion, I feel like missing are very unstable because they don't have anything controlling them or have any type of like law and order to detect what they can or cannot do. If they're missing in on mercenaries, they don't. There's no system for them. So and it feels like people go missing are more for selfish reasons, not because they're doing it for their country or whatnot. But I guess that's my opinion. So
I mean, my opinion of it is, missings should have some type of like system to go after them, and they should be hunted down. Mercenaries, on the other hand, I think Jake said before, it was like the difference between a missing and a mercenary is a missing, does a run post and they leave, and they're considered like abandoning the village. A mercenary is like a mutual split, right, Jake?
Uh, Pretty much the best way I can think of to put it. A missing is the person I said earlier who puts up a runtime, plays Rage Against the Machine, and walks right out of the village. And a mercenary is just someone who, at the moment, is either homeless or their village agreed, yeah, you need to go.
Yeah, and I pretty much agree with that type of class or distinction between the two. So I mean, I don't know, maybe all mercenaries are bad like Shin thinks, but for me, I don't really think so, and we shouldn't really force them to be villains.
I'm not saying necessarily bad. I'm just saying that because they have no system or law or dictating what they can do, I can't say they're untrusting, but they're dangerous just by themselves because they're ninja. I mean, ninjas can like what blow up buildings with a blink of an eye. We can blow fire out of our mouths. I mean, if you just have people just have those powers just walking around, no law tying to them, like how can you not say they're not dangerous?
Well, they are. That's why I said earlier it's like a sword without a hand to wield it. They are walking weapons, and the minute that they go missing or mercenary, they no longer have that hand wielding them. They don't have the direction of some higher power like a government. So they are dangerous, potentially very dangerous people, but I don't think we need to force them to be doing dangerous things for no reason.
Okay. CG, you haven't said much. I know you're pretty jumpy, so
Nah, I've just been hanging off on the sidelines because everyone else had some pretty decent answers. Uh,
okay.
well, so just to follow up on a couple of points, we're talking about how missing ninja, how if they're acknowledged as such, if they're willing to put themselves out there as a missing, because remember it's important that a lot of these guys can travel without being branded as a missing or as a mercenary or even being known as a shinobi without showing off some sort of actual ability that would tell them otherwise. But more importantly is that we're marking these people as a weapon without a wielder. They have no direction. Uh, so by that their very nature sort of threatening to a village because it could maybe inspire other ninja to want that own sort of freedom. But I mean, and this is slightly off topic, and I just hate to jump to the sidelines like this. But if you really think about it, the most dangerous ninja are the people that stay in the village and don't like it. Because then that means they're scheming and they're plotting, and they're more likely to do more damage to the village than some random guy that has no stake in your country. So I mean, it's a matter of perspective as to what you want to consider evil, or what could potentially damage your economy or village ninja infrastructure in terms of missions and contracts and things like that. Missing, I think, are actually a lot more tame. I think it's the psychopaths you have to worry about inside your walls. And considering everyone's a trained killer that can blow up buildings, at the snap of a finger, you got to be a little bit more wary of it.
That's a very valid point. I mean, people are. I mean, if you go to the government, you have people who betray your country are more dangerous than the people who actually attack him. So it's a very valid point. Uh, well, pretty much exhausted most of my questions. So we're gonna go on to intermission and get some questions from the audience and see if we can pick up the conversation. Um, until then,